I, Bindu Rani, former international athlete, multiple-time Asian medalist, state and national record holder for more than 10 years at sprint category, and at present working with budding athletes at Kantirava Stadium, Bangalore as an athletic coach. Here I am to talk about the most powerful concept, step away and self-discover. Yes, this is a very simple, and this idea of stepping away and discovering our own selves allows us to realize our own abilities and capabilities in life. So let's dwell into the topic and know more about it. I still remember the first time when I had to encounter my 400 meters. I was just 14 years old, where I had to first my encounter with the fear. Absolutely, I had no idea that how 400 meters it's going to happen. I had to my coach just told me he just said, go run 400 meters. Since you have not trained much for it, just give it a try. Since back then, India had always been the dominant nation, especially at the Asia, that we always had led 400 meters. We had undoubtedly leading the 400 meters criteria in women category, especially for a long time, back from PT Usha's days to behind that even Valsama, many other champion athletes who have been dominated in 400 meters. But my first encounter with 400 meters was totally different. The first time when I ran 400 meters, that was on cinder ground, and trust me, I didn't finish my race. Half the way through, I was literally out of breath, and by the time I would reach my finishing lane, I was on ground. And the lady who was sitting there as an official, she just kept telling me, touch the lane, you'll finish, and you'll qualify into finals, but that didn't actually happen. So this fear always resided within me. When the first time when my coach told me, you're running 400 meters on synthetic track, I was shit scared. First thing, I started to cry. I told him, no, I'm not running 400. I don't want to do it. I'm very comfortable running 108, 200 meters. But as in which he said, no, 400 is an event which you can dominate and win at national levels, so do give it a try. On the block, I'm shivering. I don't know what to do, completely blanked out. The race began. As the race progressed, my idea was throughout the race, because when you run 400 meters, it's the longest sprinting event ever in athletics. So the thought was only that, where am I going to stop? That was the only thought which was running in my mind. And I finished the first half, that's 200 meters, and proceeded the race. And as it progressed, after the 200 meters, I don't know that how it happened, that I could actually finish the race very strongly. Not only did I win the gold medal, but I created a new state record also. And that's what actually made me where I'm here today, standing in front of you all. Facing the fear was the first thing which I actually did to my own self. And later, even after that, whenever I had to run 400 meters, I had to prepare myself totally and mentally. And it's like in running for the very first time. So every time, every athlete who could relate to this event, especially, I always tell them I have a separate heart for the guys who run 400, because I know how it feels like. After running the event, you're completely devastated. From top to bottom, you're like, I don't want to do it again. But this is what it happens. If we could actually face our fear, come ahead confidently, and if we could really encounter it, it becomes an easy task for us to do it again and again and again. And this actually what makes the things more simpler in life. Encounter your fear, you'll be at the next step. After all this winning couple of years at state level and national levels, I had no idea that my coach was actually thinking me to be an international athlete. I myself, I had no vision, because athletics just happened to me. It was not planned. It just happened from state level to from district to state to national. It just went through, the journey just went through. But after all this, the expectation raised within me, within the people around, and within the situations, this was actually putting me into the lot of pressure, the pressure of perfections. Because as an athlete, when they see me on track, they always wanted to point out those things where I went wrong. And my coach always told me this one thing: it's only him who can actually guide me, who can actually have this power to guide out where he's gone wrong, and not with anyone else. But we know, as teenagers, we always listen to our friends or the fellow athletes or other coaches who come up to me and say that, instead of 400, you could have done other event. You could have been excelled in 100 meters, because I loved that event. Totally loved the title, being the fastest woman or the fastest girl of the event. That tag is really amazing. And I always wanted that tag, really. Even now when I see somebody winning that, I always feel, man, no wonder we remember Usain Bolt more than anybody who has done marathon runners. Relate to that more. So that tag, always being the fastest athlete, always fascinated me. So I never wanted to do that. Above that, when the expectations from the other people were totally different. They were looking at me to be as par of as another excelled athletes from the Karnataka and even from India. Because as a junior athlete, that I was actually running equivalent to the seniors women category athlete. I was just 15 years when I ran along with PT Usha at one of the events, and I was placed third, where that was her last final race. And I won third position running along with her. That's the only pride thing I would always say, I ran with the one who has been called as an excel athlete in the field of sports, especially with sprint category in athletics. So after this, the raise of expectations was so high that it was putting too much pressure on me, pushing me to look for the perfection in everything I do. So it's like, being 16, as I always wanted to look around and go around with my friends or anything as such, but that never happened. Because this one calling always had for me that, Bindu, no, stop. Because morning you have to get up and go for the training. Make sure you sleep early. Make sure you do things right. Make sure you eat right, and other things. And this pressure of perfections in everything was stressing out so much on me. I literally was not enjoying the process of training. It was like too much stress on me. I never wanted to get back. Sometimes there were the days when I never wanted to step back on the track, and I always used to get back crying to my mom because I had no guts to tell my dad that he doesn't want to do it. He got me to the sports with great difficulty against his family, where never and women were allowed to get back on shorts and run. That's the family we had come up with. And after all this, when dad took so much of risk putting me into the sports, and this is where my mom used to tell, no, Papa has taken too much of risk to put you up here, so you make sure you go do it again. Just do for one more day and come back. Or you just do only till this event and you come back. But these expectations from all around raised it so high that at some point of a time, I told my mom, I'm going to stop it. And I don't want to do it. This is internally, externally is killing me every day. But at one point of a time, when I could realize more than people expecting from me or for my own self, why don't I do it for my own self? For one time, let me enjoy running 400 meters. For one time, let me just give it a try, enjoying being there on track, feeling the track, loving the pain after running the race. That one expectation where I raised out for my own self and where I could step forward. And then when that could happen, I was at Asian Championship, winning a medal for India. So this one thing, when I realized, wow, wearing an Indian jersey itself a big thing, and winning a medal for India at my first international meet was much more a pride for me. And then, this one, after this, as in journey continued as an athlete. So I was quite very comfortable with my own comfort zone. I never wanted to, give a risk or give a try of doing anything else other than being an athlete, because this is way too comfortable to me. But I was at certain point of a time when sports was done, I was comfortable with my family, friends, and everything. But one point was striking me was that I want to get back to this field. Never had a time, never had a chance. Nobody gave me a call that you should get back. But it kept striving within me that I should give a try for this. And then when this happened, I realized I made a decision that I should get back into the form into the sports as in coaching. And when this point, as in coaching, happened, I thought I could do it just with the experience as I had it as an athlete for about 18 years. I did athletics as in every morning and evening. So I thought I could just ease it. It's easy for me because I've done that for 18 years. But that risk I took up, the decision I took up, the challenge I took up, I realized it only when it actually processed. Training these young and budding athletes every day itself is a huge challenge to me. But with the dedication and the energy they come up to the stadium every morning fills me with lots of motivation. These guys carry that energy which anybody who comes into stadium, they'll get energized by themselves. The stadium itself is filled with lots of energy, and the kids, especially with these young budding athletes, they come up, they fill it with much more energy and joy. And this is when I realized the joy of teaching. Trust me, it's so good. I found myself there. I found yes, this is where I was missing. I was missing out to be for the whole decade, for 10 years I was out of sports, and that's what I was actually missing. I was missing that joy. But being back on track, it's not just being back on track to do athletics for my own self. That could have been much more painful if I would have taken that decision. But the decision where I thought that I would be as a coach changed the whole life, the whole scenario for me. And now, today, when I see that small community of 18 to 90 athletes who come up to me for training, that's actually revolving. My own life revolves around them, and their life is kind of revolving around the training programs, what we do. The dreams in their eyes, the efforts, what they put in. Every morning, they're there at 5:30. Most of my team athletes, we assemble by 5:30. They're there every morning with dedicatedly getting up at 4 o'clock, doing their full activities because we have a certain pattern to come up with their diet, and before coming in, their pre-work, everything has to be done. And they come there with the dedication and the dream of representing our nation in upcoming events. Fills me with so much of my energy and motivation, and it's a huge challenge yet again because I'll have to get prepared. For them, it's just me, but for me, it's 90 of them. So it's a whole process for me to prepare every morning just for these guys. But again, the joy of teaching is immeasurable. I enjoy and I love that what they've been doing it. After this part of the time, the initial days of my coaching, all it started was with a part where I was called to be a coach at an environment where it was not very friendly, very devastated. It was filled with lot of filth. I would definitely say those people around me were with lots of gossip. When I had to pull out myself from the situation where I was put myself into, because when they gave me this opportunity, I had no thought that where I would be. So it just happened. They just said, come over, you can coach. And I just started without any pre-preparations. But it was a huge risk, I would say. It's definitely not a challenge I took up. It was a huge risk. But that risk, yet again, made me to be more stronger. That made me realize that actually stepping back a little more, relax, keeping myself away from situations for quite some time, taking a time break there, getting out from myself from the negativity, and then come back fresh with proper good preparations, with all the people who encourage me, who make me to take up a sports in a different level. This is what actually pulled me forward again. Then I got back after a span of, I took a break about 3 months from the coaching. All of a sudden, I don't wanted to do it because of the environment I was put myself into. The situations were pushing me to the next level where it was very much stressful. It was not completely something anyone would go up to, or even being a lady, if anyone had to take it up to. Because first of all, being a lady and taking up professional coaching was a huge thing. The challenges what henceforth came up, like how would being a lady, how will you take a team and travel? Because I'm supposed to travel along with my team. I'm like, no, you can't do that. But I did that. I did travel, even if one of my athletes qualifies to nationals, I'm with them throughout the days and night. We plan, we strategize, whatsoever may be the results. But I make sure I'm there along with them for the competition. Probably I have nothing to do when we travel to the competitions, but the moral support what they get when they see their coach is something what I was missing as an athlete. So I doesn't wanted my athletes to go through that. So I made sure that I'm there along with them, just letting them to enjoy the process of being at the nationals or internationals, and just myself also to be a marking as a coach. So after all this while, I definitely realized getting out from the fear, facing the fear, being more courageous, staying more positive, definitely helped us to get to the next level. In conclusions with all this, I would definitely say stepping away and self-discover ourselves just by the process enables us not only to free our limitations, but also to look ourselves in a better way and embark on journey along with the life. Thank you.